Okay, so within this discussion of Chazal's prohibition of a person of enjoying, of benefiting from the goy's melacha, melacha that was done on a Jew's behalf, we discussed previously what is the relationship between the Jew and the goy. Was the Jew present? Are they acquainted? Was it done on his behalf, just directly, regardless of the context of presence and acquaintance? This leads to another question, which is, what happens if the melacha was done for a certain Jew? Is it only prohibited for that Jew to enjoy it? Can other Jews enjoy it and benefit from it? Right? If it's a matter of presence, if it's a matter of acquaintance, so if it was done for his acquaintance, what happened? Can everyone else enjoy it? Okay, so there's a Gemara. The Gemara in Beitzah on page 10. Gemara in Beitzah of Kaf Daled. Now, the Gemara assumes that Doron here, the present, the gift that the guy brings on Yom Tov is going to be flowers. Okay, I was going to say berries. But yeah, okay, nachinami.
Flowers, berries are better because you really have a different hana'ah.
Right, that's a good point. So the guy wanted the berries to keep fresh, so he picked them on Yom Tov, right? That's the reasonable time to pick them on his way to going to visit his friend the Jew. He knows he's on holiday right now, right? So the Gemara says, if we know that these berries are being picked, now, sorry, I skipped an important line. This is an important line. Meaning, if we're concerned, if there's no concern that he picked them, because all the berries were picked already, or the apples, whatever. This fruit, we know where it was picked. No one's picking apples anymore. People are using the apples that were picked a month ago. Now, if it was brought, so you have another problem. What happens if you brought it from outside the tchum? Right? So if it was brought... Why?
It's Yom Tov.
It's Yom Tov. Ding. Gotcha. So Yom Tov, there's no Isur to carry on Yom Tov, but there is still Isur Tchumin on Yom Tov, right? So if they were brought from outside the Tchum, so you can't use it. Other Jews can. As it says, now, presumably you'd say, okay, so that's fantastic. This is the rule. The rule is, if the melacha was done for this Jew's benefit, all other Jews are allowed to benefit from it. Only he can't, right? Which presumably would also fit the concept we had. If I'm used to benefiting from the goy's melacha on Shabbos or Yom Tov in this case, so if he's doing it on my behalf, and then he gets it wrong once, so I'm going to tell him, no, don't do it like this, do it like that. And then I'm back to Avirah Goy Shavut, which is the problem. So, so presumably if it was done on my behalf, so any of you could enjoy it, but only I can't, right? But both Rashi and the Ramban, all Rishonim followed them, said that they disagreed, didn't accept this, and said that it says in the original Mishnah, go back to the original Mishnah, the Mishnah said, in Bishvil Yisrael Asur, they understood this to mean if it's done for any Jew, it's Asur for any other Jew. In Bishvil Yisrael, no one's allowed to enjoy it at all. No other Jew is allowed to enjoy it at all. So, that's a contradiction. If we understand the Mishnah says that if it was done for any Jew, it's Asur for all Jews, why is it that here it says if it's brought for one, it's Asur for the others to use? So Rashi, the Gemara right there, suggests two answers, two resolutions to the seeming contradiction. You see at the end of the second line over there, Yesh Lomar, Digabei Sul Tchumin de Rabbanan Lachmo Kulei Hai, V'dayanim Asavu Al Zeh. So first of all, sorry, remind me your name. David. So David pointed out earlier that the whole Isur of benefiting from the Goy's Melacha is already almost Gzeira L'Gzeira. So Gzeira L'Gzeira on Isur Drabanan is really a bit far-fetched. So as long as it's an Isur Drabanan that the Goy did, right? As long as it's a Melacha Drabanan, we don't go that far. So,
meaning permitted, forbidden?
So, like this. If the Goy does a Melacha Drabanan, you're not allowed to benefit from it. But if the Goy did the Melacha Drabanan for you, I'm allowed to benefit from it. So, that's Rashi's first answer. טעם אחר נראה לי, מחוץ לתחום אסורים גזירה שמה ישלח בשבילו. והבא בשביל זה מותר לאחר דליקה למגזר בה שאינו מכירו. Once again, what was the whole problem? What's the isur? Why are you not allowed to enjoy, to benefit from the Goy's Melacha? Because you might request him to do the Melacha. Now, if we're in the field together, and the Goy is picking fruit, right? Now, the Goy is Rafi's friend, not my friend. Fine, we don't know each other, fine. So he's picking the fruit, presumably for Rafi. Elamai. So am I allowed to enjoy the fruit? So you'd say, yeah, why not? Why not? Because then I'll say, can you pick another one for me? So that's why not. Fair. What happens if the Goy came from the next village? Am I going to tell him, can you go back to the next village and get me some more? So if I'm his friend, Nagid, right, and then we're going to say there's no chiluk. But if he doesn't even know me, we just happen to be at lunch together. He brought these berries, and they say, oh, it's a shame you only brought this amount of berries. So he's not going to say, oh, let me run back 10 miles and bring more, right? If we're acquainted, then we say, if he did it on my behalf, if he did it for me, so he did it for me, and that's the Yisur. But if not, if it wasn't done for me, and we're not really acquainted anyway, it wasn't done on my behalf to begin with, then when it comes to Tchumin, we'll make out. Now it's very interesting that Rashi goes this far. There are two interesting things to take from this Rashi. One is that it's a bit specific, right? In other words, how could we think of other what? The second, yeah. The first answer is Daraisa Drabanan. That's a classic. That's a classic chiluk. That's does it make a specific logic, maybe a specific sense, whatever. But no, in other words, you can argue. Does it have to be like that? Is that necessarily the right chiluk? Fine, but this is a chiluk. We're used to that. There's different levels of chumrah, and you won't take it that far. Fine. But here Rashi is being very, very specific, saying this situation of chashash that you're going to ask him that you're going to request any more from him, seems a bit far fetched. It's a bit much. It's a bit too nitpicky in the positive sense, right? That you're trying to say, how far would Rashi go? And he said in other cases also we could work out, is the Goy really going to go to such extremes to also help you? What happens if the Goy, I don't know, fixed the electricity, not picked up the thing, but fixed the plumbing in your house, okay? So is the next Jew allowed to benefit from it? Because he's not going to say, by the way, could you come to my house and do me a favor and start fixing my toilets? I don't even know this guy, right? So that's presumably, that's also far-fetched. So does Rashi mean in any case it's far-fetched? I think it's a good question. There's another important point, which touches on what we had a couple of shiurim ago. Rashi seemed to say there that the definition is, right, not to enjoy the melacha the Goy did on Shabbos. That's the definition of the Yisur. Tosafot says, no. The definitive point is, are we concerned that you're going to request the melacha from him? Here Rashi also raises Tosafot's point and says, this parameter of, are we concerned that you're going to request the melacha is relevant. It's relevant also, is relevant to the halachic parameters as well. Right? Not only the very question of, are you going to benefit from the Goy's Melacha on Yom Tiv, but also, are we concerned that he's going to request the Melacha from him? Whoever wasn't in that shir, I'll either watch it or I'll recap after the shir. I don't want to get bogged down in that again. You're all invited to do chazar on that shir. Right, sorry. Hey, we moved the day of the shir for you, so not only, but yeah, definitely helped. Now the Ramban explains differently, and the Ramban says a very interesting thing, and I want to, before we see the Ramban Druz, I want to discuss, I think the philosophy that I understand behind what the Ramban says. Is there such a thing, something that's asur only for specific people to use? Okay, so we have Nedarim and Shvuot, that I can say that something is asur for me, but that's more self-imposed, right? Okay, so there's Kedushat Kohanim because the Kohen has a certain Kedusha, right? Fine, right? But do we have... No, there's, the Kohen has a specific Kedusha that puts him in a different... Yantiv Sheni, that's an interesting topic. Yantiv Sheni is a complicated issue. But I'll add that to the whole question of the Beit Yosef and all that on the Yantiv Sheni, right?
You're talking on the Rabbanan.
Okay, yes.
So we take out the example that Rabbeinu Tam wrote in the beginning about if a Jew does the Melacha on Shabbos, now the Jew can benefit from it.
Or if the guy does the Melacha on first day Yantiv. You talking about that?
No, Rabbeinu Tam was on the question on Rashi.
Yeah.
Where he said that
Or if the Jew did the Melacha,
we can benefit with it without waiting.
Yeah, but in that case, all Jews are allowed to benefit from the Melacha.
Yeah.
No, but then, once again,
he's
that's...
not allowed to benefit from it, but the other Jews can benefit from it.
Alright,
He's
so,
not
okay,
allowed to
Beseder.
I'm saying
I think the Rashi, I'll explain where am I going. I think Rashi and the Ramban, their assumption, they seem to assume that Melacha that was done for one Jew, all other Jews aren't allowed to benefit from either, right? And then they have this Gemara and Beit, so they have to, that doesn't seem to fit that assumption, right? Now, why not? And I think the answer is that. I think the answer is because once you say it's asur for a Jew, it has to be asur on all Jews. We're not going to start to create gzirot that apply to the specific designated beneficiary of this melacha. I don't think that works. I think that's their assumption. Therefore, the Ramban says that depends on the nature of the isur. Is isur tchumin an isur that applies to everyone equally? Well, not really, right? Because every Jew has his tchum. I'd say yishmin komo b'yom Shabbat, right? Every person has his own makom. So the goy can come from another village, right?
The Jews in his village could have eaten the thing.
Right, exactly. Yes, I was trying to think what was the logical. Yes, that. Right. The goy had his berries in his village. They were in his fridge. The Jews in his village were allowed to enjoy them. He goes to the next village. Suddenly, they're not allowed to enjoy. Right. Suddenly, the Jews there are not allowed to enjoy what the Jews in the first village were allowed. Right. So this Isur, in its very nature, applies only to some of the Jews, not all of them anyway. Therefore, it makes sense, since that's the nature of the Isur anyway, so then we could make that chiluk. What I find interesting about this is that it means that the assumption really should be, it's true. Really fundamentally, the logic dictates that only the Jew who was the designated beneficiary of the Melacha is the one who shouldn't be allowed to benefit from it. Elamai, once we say it's asur to the Jews, it's asur to all Jews. But when it comes to tchumin, it's not true. Because there are Jews who are allowed to enjoy these berries. The Jews from the original village. Mimele, we could go to our initial assumption and say, okay, so I'm going to be asur on those specific designated Jews. That's what the Ramban says. I'll just read the halacha about this and we'll wrap it up. The Shulchan Aruch on last page 11. The Shulchan Aruch, the first Shulchan Aruch brought here says, Goy shedeket anel b'shvil Yisrael asur lakol afilu lemi shelo hudlak b'shvilo. Rashi and the Ramban both agree with this. No one really argues with them. So once the Goy does a melacha for a specific Jew's benefit, no Jews are allowed to benefit from it. But then the Shulchan Aruch, 50 simanim later, the Shulchan Aruch writes, Goy shemile mayim livhimto mibol shel reshut hayachid reshut harabim, mutar l'Yisrael hashkot mayim behemto. So this goes back to what we discussed previously about whether the guy is acquainted with the Jew and whether it's done for his benefit. Now, if it was carried to the Carmelite, then others are allowed to benefit. Why?
Not quite Shayachid or Robin.
Meaning?
It's in between, it's a grey area.
Say better? It's in Drabanan. That's Rashi's first favorites. Rashi's first favorites was Drabanan. Right? So he says, Drabanan. Now the Magen Avraham adds another qualification. So it's interesting, right? The Magen Avraham seems reluctant to say it's Drabanan, so it's fine, right? Although it could be that there's another issue here, right? Are Tchumin Drabanan? Is this your Tchumin Drabanan? It's interesting, no one pointed this out. They're just saying all along, Tchumin is Drabanan, that's the chiluk. No one said, wait, hold on, slow down. You mentioned the pasuk, right? That's the issue called Shabbat. Is that this Tchumin Drabanan?
There are big tchumim or doraita and small tchumim or doraita.
That's right. So there's the small tchum, there's the alpayim, which is the small tchum, which is asur midrabanan, which going beyond that is asur midrabanan, and there's the long tchum yud bet mil, which is asur midoraisa. And the assumption was that they don't go beyond yud bet mil. Nowadays, going beyond yud bet mil is not a big deal. In a couple of minutes, we're going to finish the share. I'm going to drive more than yud bet mil, right? So yud bet mil, if yud bet mil isn't such a big deal, the assumption was that yud bet mil is no one's going to travel in one day just to visit a friend more than yud bet mil, and your berries definitely won't last that long if you have to go beyond that. So that was that was Rashi's assumption. But according to the Ramban, because Tchumin is special, right? Because Tchumin, by its very nature, only applies to these Jews, not to those Jews, right? Because each one has his own Tchum. So also Tchumin Doraisa should be okay, according to the Ramban. Right? So it seems the Halacha we hold both. That Yisurim Drabanan, that Melacha that's Drabanan, others are allowed to benefit. And those are Tchumin. Magen Avraham seems to think. You can argue that Magen Avraham, does he mean only Tchumin Drabanan because he writes Shaisa Drabanan? I wonder if he means, and therefore you can't mat your other Yisur Drabanan, but also Tchum you could mat your Deraisa. I'm not sure. So we'll leave that as a question. I just want to point out, if most of the electricity we use is Asur Midrabanan, if I know there's discussions from here until next week about electricity. If electricity is Asur Midrabanan, if electricity is Asur Midrabanan, this could be tremendous nafkamina, right? Just saying. Just putting it out there.